Welcome, Viviane. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me, Sabrina.
Of
I'm glad
course.
to be here.
Well, I feel blessed too, and I'm very excited to have you. And I just want to say thank you for allowing me to interview you today so that you can share your wisdom and expertise with our listening audience. I'm very excited.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for
Ah!
having me. This is my first podcast, girl.
Yes,
You
yes,
you'll be like, "Oh, I knew her then." I'll be
exactly.
like,
So
"Yes.
remember me.
Yes, Sabrina Cobb was the first one of
Yes,
many."
of course, of course. So yes, I'll let everybody else know that it all started here. So all the
Yes,
content that you get,
officially.
they'll leverage, right? They'll leverage everything from this conversation. All right,
Great.
Viviane, let's start by telling people who you are, both personally and professionally.
Okay.
Who's
So,
Viviane?
who is Viviane? That's a very loaded question.
I
Who is
know.
Viviane?
We could
So,
share a little bit
Viviane,
here. We could dig a little deeper later.
for sure. So Viviane is the oldest of three, immigrant from Brazil. She is also a mother of a 14-year-old boy. She is a dreamer. She is a goal-getter, and
Mm-hmm.
she is a great friend, and she is fearless.
Good. I love that.
You like
Love
that?
that. I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
So
That's
professionally,
that's just parts of me. I have
right,
many.
right. Well, professionally, who are you? What do you do for a living?
So professionally, I am a licensed esthetician based in Philadelphia. I have over 18 years of experience as a massage therapist as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I am an esthetician, massage therapist, makeup artist, and then for the last 3 years, I just focus mainly on aesthetics.
Okay.
And so I also have done some traveling nationally, internationally as an educator for a few different skincare line brands. So I always have done some education plus providing services and my off time travels. So yeah.
Great, great. Now, so you said before, so you're an esthetician
hmm
as well as a formally trained massage therapist.
hmm
So, how long have you been an esthetician?
I've been an esthetician since 2002. I got my license.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2002.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you move from? Well, you said before that you were also a massage therapist first, right?
Yeah,
And then you
so massage
transitioned
therapist
to.
first,
So,
2000.
what was that transition like, and why did you transition from massage therapy to skincare or to
Again,
aesthetics?
yeah, it actually, they are very intertwined because now, especially now in Europe, in Latin America, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of beauty therapists, they do both.
Hmm. Okay.
So they go under training for 3 years in Europe and Brazil. I believe that it's 2 years. So you learn face methodology, anatomy, physiology, body the same. They don't
Mm-hmm.
disconnect. I think this country is the only country that disconnects,
Okay.
this kind of therapy. So I started as I went to school 2001 2001, and then I was covering somebody's shift, someone that I met in school. He was like, "Hey Viv, I need somebody to cover my shift. I won't be able to make it. Can you cover for me?" I was
Mm-hmm.
like, what I haven't got my certification yet. No, you're great. He already had massages by me. You're gonna do fine. So I cover his shift. Then I start covering, a few of his shifts, and then somebody got hurt, and then I was covering her shift, and she never came back. So now I was working at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in
Hmm.
Philadelphia for
Hmm.
full time.
Right.
And so as I was working there, one of the managers said, "Hey, Viviane, you should um you should go to aesthetic school because then you'll be able to do both." I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Really?
Hmm.
Great." So I,
That benefits them, of course.
Yeah. But I'll tell you this though, that's when everything started. So benefit them, but actually it was the biggest blessing for me, right?
Okay.
Because from that point on, I've done so much.
Right.
So when that happened, then I, went to school part-time, and then I got my license. Then I was providing services, facing body services at the Ritz-Carlton, and I was doing very well in retail because I always been good in sales. Always, it's just in my nature. Just
Okay.
if I believe in something, you're buying from me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and I get that from my mother actually. Anyway, so I was doing so well in retail that my manager spoke to the trainer of one of the brands that had kind of shared with her that they are looking for a educator to train out estheticians and massage therapists in methodology. So I was like, so she approached me, and I was like, what? My English was very minimum then.
Okay.
Because I didn't come into US with English. It was
Okay. So you learned
very
here.
basic.
Okay.
I learned
Okay.
here. But the desire to learn the language, it was before coming to this country, because I always had a dream to come to US as a Black Brazilian, it's just a woman of color outside of this country. I always looked up to, to the Black culture as like, oh my gosh. And finally I'm here.
Right.
So
Right.
I grew up listening to American, music and watching videos. Naomi Campbell was one of my idols, right?
Yes.
Because I wanted to be a model when I was young.
Okay. Uh-huh.
So yeah, so all of that. So my objective was to master the language, to master. So I listened to song like music. I would translate words and context that I want to understand to connect, the message. So I always have done that, even when I was in school back home. So not being around Brazilians here, that's how it helped me to really get into just learning one language versus practicing my native language.
Okay.
So got into, I accepted the invitation, and then went to training for 10 days, facing body in New York City. And I was there, and I was like, I can't do this, that I can't do. I don't deserve to be here. I don't know the language. Why me? All these self-talk, criticism. And the educator who was from here, but the brand was from Italy. She said, Viviane, most of our trainers are international, and English is their second language. What is the most important that we're looking for is technique and passion.
Right. Skill and passion. Yeah.
I was like, okay. So boom. Now I'm traveling nationally at that time, going into 5-star resorts and day spas and training estheticians and how to perform the treatments, how to recommend the products. And yeah, so then internationally, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. And I was traveling, or the company liked me so much that they were offering more training. And so eventually I left the Ritz-Carlton. I started doing that full time.
Well, let me just let people know, because definitely I put this in my intro, but let me remind people that as you're speaking about, your beginnings, just have to let them know that in 2019, you were voted the best esthetician in Philadelphia, right? So that was very appealing to me, because as I dig deeper into skincare and why we should really spend more time focusing on skincare, I want people to know that, yes, you worked at the Ritz-Carlton, which that alone says something about you, right? Because we know it's top of the line and they're only going to have experts there. But also, I want to let people know that you trained at the LT International Beauty School in Philadelphia as well, and you're an award-winning esthetician. Yeah. So, that's what was really appealing to me, as well as you traveling to spas internationally. So Tahiti, Panama, Canada, California, of course, New York, Chicago, Seattle. So I'm talking to someone who is, you know, very known in her field, trained under notable people, and is an expert at what she does. Right? I had to throw that in because I said, just in case you are humble and you don't say any of that, because we're talking about your beginnings, I had to make sure that people know early on that when we talk, it's going to be from a place of serious expertise, you know?
And a lot of not only that, but it's a lot of eagerness too, right? Because again, what I said in the beginning, I had times that I felt like I didn't belong or didn't deserve, and I was told that I didn't deserve them.
Interesting. Okay.
You get it?
So was that early on in your career, or was that even after you had
early on in my career? The same manager who told me,
oh, really?
to go to this to get my license.
The
Later
same
on,
manager? The same manager, you said?
The same manager, yeah.
Okay.
So remember, I was picking up, you know, some requests for, you know, traveling a little bit more, and so now I wasn't at the Ritz-Carlton as much, right? Or I would take time off. So then the manager said to me, Viviane, don't come back and be sharing like what you're learning or, you know, all your excitement to the staff, because they don't think you deserve this position.
They don't think so, or he or she didn't think so?
She. Right? So, and then, yeah, politics, right? So.
Well, they probably also did not want to lose you, right? And didn't want to encourage other people to start trying to follow suit, and then they start exploring beyond where they were.
Exactly. So, but when you're in it, right, because it's confirming something that I'm feeling, right? So you believe that you don't deserve, because I feel the same way. So at that time, it shook me up a little bit, and the actually, to be very transparent with you, I didn't leave because I was busy traveling. I actually left because of the friction that she created it.
Okay.
So I was like, listen, I think it's time for me to go. I never got fired in my life. I always leave. So I said, listen, in my mind, as an immigrant, nobody is going to tell me that I don't deserve it or I'm not enough. Therefore, I'm out.
Right.
Period. So then I left, and then I was like, I told the company like, hey, I'm available to travel a little bit more. And she went back, and this is on tape, right? Woo! Yeah. And she was about to drop the line if I continued to train with them. And the manager, the VP at that time, was actually very close to her, and he was like, listen, I love her, but I love you too, and you're super professional, and I can't afford to lose you. Therefore, I'm going to keep you on a hush hush. And I continue to. And then from that company, he got transferred to another company, which was Clarence Paris. And I worked, he moved, and he brought me in, and we worked together for 15 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
well, I always say, you know, when you're in the midst of something that is not the best situation, right? If someone is, well, let me take a step back. So clearly she saw potential, right? And it seemed like she was scared to lose you because you were good at your craft. So I think between that and her not being able to express it a certain way, so it came across very negative, I'm sure you were just feeling that as you shared. But a lot of times that's good, because all of that, right, those experiences led you to something better. There's always something better that comes along. And we don't know it when we're in the midst of the craziness, you know, that turmoil that we're going through, or just any tumultuous situation. You don't understand what it is until you leave, and then you can reflect, right?
Absolutely.
But all of this has led you to jump out on your own, right? So before we dive into that part of the business, I want to ask you about skincare, right? So do you believe, because as we're talking about like some of the slight insecurities that you had, and a lot of it's because of the language barrier initially, as well as working for someone who saw your potential but didn't want to share that with you. What do you feel that skincare, or have you learned that skincare over time makes the woman more confident? Like when she's really taking care of her body, her skin, her mind, do you think that helps elevate her confidence level?
100%.
Okay.
100%. I feel that once you start taking care of yourself, that could be, skincare regimen, AM and PM, or going to the gym, or meditating, or go to a CrossFit session. You feel that power that is already within you. You're just expressing, right? You're developing it. And so, when it comes to skincare, it's all about really enjoying the process of cleansing the face, smelling the aroma, feeling the textures, even the packaging. Like Italians and French, they are very, very good at that, like creating the whole sensorial experience.
Right.
Because it has an emotional effect to the body when you experience that. That's why when you see a woman, doing her skincare, is always this graceful thing, because that's how a woman should feel when she's taking care of herself, or her skin in this case. So, but people don't talk about that. People talk about products. People talk about, to this day on social media, everyone talks about a must-have product. And what I talk to my clients is the solution is not the product. The solution is the commitment of using those products.
Okay.
The discipline.
Right. And that's a challenge because
it is
just from everyday things, right? Like we all know what we're supposed to do, right? Or let's say once you learn what you're supposed to do, can you commit to it? Because I'm sure you have clients that come and you can sell them products, but if they're not going to commit to using them regularly, they're not going to see the benefits of it. And I'm sure you can tell whether or not they're using the product, when you have your next sessions with them, right? You can tell. But I'll admit, I love trying different products. It makes me feel great when I am, like just as you described, cleansing my face, using multiple layers of products, because I'm, cleansing using an oil to break down the dirt or whatever, and the makeup, and then, serums and toning mist and all that stuff. I love that experience. But I'll admit, when it gets late at night, I am lazy. It is too late to go through this again. But once I start, then it feels good, right?
Yeah.
Or you have the women who say they don't have time to do it because they're too busy with work or kids or whatever. But I know you and I, in our other conversation, talked about like how you make sure you personally carve out time for yourself to do this. So can you share with people what you talked about? So like when you get home, what do you do when you leave your business and you walk through your doors? What is Viviane's experience?
Oh, yeah.
Again, I want you to tell people, because I want them to know that, when they say the shoemaker, I always get that wrong. The shoemaker, no, that's the wrong example.
I know what you're trying to say.
I want to show that this is what you do for a living, but you are true to what you do. The word that you preach to others, you actually adhere to them, right? You take heed to it and you do the same exact thing. You practice what you preach. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you can describe to people,
I got it,
what Viviane does when she walks through the door at the end of the day.
So you just keep in mind, listen, I'm not perfect. I'm a human being just like you, right? So one thing for sure, I don't go to bed without washing my face. Do I look graceful washing my face all the time? No. Do I take my time smelling each product that I'm applying? No. But what I do I do my PM regimen because I know it's very important.
Mm-hmm.
When I get home, the first thing that I do, I like to light incense or a candle. So aroma is going. I
Mm-hmm.
start taking my bra, everything off, and now
Right.
I'm just
That's a
free.
must. Right.
And then I put something super comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
and then I go in to take a shower. I love to take hot showers. I know it's not, as an esthetician, I know for sure
Mm-hmm.
hot temperature is not good for the skin because it's dehydrating. But
Mm-hmm.
I know for sure it's super relaxing. So that is my ritual, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm over my boyfriend's house, I already told him, I already trained them. I said, listen, I need to shower. Just leave me alone. And I'm there for like a half an hour,
Right.
taking my time.
Right.
And my body wash has to smell good. And
Mm-hmm.
I love to do like a body scrub or whatever. No, I don't do that every day, but I do like once a week
Okay.
for that resetting. Just give me that sensorial experience to just peel the layers away from my stressful or
Mm-hmm.
hectic day. Not only stressful, but hectic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so the first thing that I do, I like a candle, an incense, get comfortable, settle, then go shower, and then I go into whatever I have to do.
So what is the skincare expert's daily skincare regimen? So what do you apply to your face? What do you do? And what would you suggest to other women that they do every day?
So the difference between a skin professional like myself and you, for example, is that there are certain things that we feel comfortable doing because we've been doing it for so long. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can do a high percentage peel and not be feel threatened because I
Right.
know it's gonna work for my skin. But for you, I would never recommend to do that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So even like dermaplaning, right? I do myself, but
Mm.
I would not suggest for you to do it because you don't
Right.
have the technique.
Right.
But one thing that you and I can do and should be doing is the skincare routine. You know,
Mm-hmm.
in the morning, I use a cleanser. I cleanse my face. I'm a evening shower. Like I
Mm-hmm.
take hot showers in the evening. Summertime, I do morning and night. But wintertime, PM showers is a must. I don't go
Mm-hmm.
to bed without not showering because
Washing the day away.
exactly. And you
Mm-hmm.
know, from immigrant parents from Panama,
Mm-hmm.
like we don't do that
Right.
because
Right.
of the climate, right? It's
Right.
it's it's refreshing, and also there is an energetic component to it. You wanted
Mm-hmm.
to make sure you go to bed with clean canvas,
Right.
right?
Right.
So I cleanse, I tone, I apply my serum and my moisturizer, right? As a professional, I know how to use different things within my regimen. For
Mm.
you, I will be more consistent. Like, okay, Sabrina, I want you to use these products for a certain amount of time. And then
Mm-hmm.
next time you come back to see me, I want you to introduce something else. And then
Okay.
I want you to use this serum during the day and this serum during the night. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm more specific and I'll walk you through the process. Is a guided kind of process. Then
Mm-hmm.
for me, I'm free flowing because I understand the purpose of different products and what I'm
Right.
trying to achieve.
Right.
Make sense?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So we often hear about exfoliating often or at least regularly and using masks.
Mhm.
So are we supposed to exfoliate and how often? And should we use a mask or does it even matter?
They both matter.
Okay.
Um, Exfoliation. So naturally, our skin, you know,
It
shed.
sheds, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But as we get older, this natural function slows down. So we have a tendency to retain a little bit more.
Mm.
So then we have to continue to kind of help the skin to renew, revive.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have to exfoliate. The question is which type of exfoliant. You want to do a
Mm-hmm.
mechanical, let's say a scrub, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you want to do a fruity acid, papaya, pineapple enzyme,
Mm-hmm.
which is more for a reactive, sensitive skin. Then you have the acids. They work differently on the skin. So the mechanical, it's scratching the superficial layer of the skin, scratching the surface.
Okay.
The enzyme is going to kind of eat the dead skin cells, the protein that's binding the dead skin cells together. So the enzyme is kind of eating that off.
Okay.
Gradually. So that's why it's good for reactive and sensitized skin. And then you have the acids, glycolic, salicylic, mandelic, lactic. They are there melting the dead skin cells. So the enzyme and the acid, they do more even exfoliation than a physical exfoliant.
Okay.
Right? So then you have to talk, and then you have to be, as a professional, we know, okay, The Ordinary, for example, is promoting HAs, alpha hydroxy acid, which is a combination of acids. And you're like, okay, acid. Oh, that's good, because Viviane said that is good. But we know that the formulation is going to determine how deep that exfoliation is going to go. So for you, as for the mass consumer, that is a great intro skincare regimen routine. Go right ahead. But when you come to me, I'll be, Sabrina, okay, I see that you're using a HA serum, but I would like to introduce something else that, I know the formulation, it's going to be highly concentrated because it's a professional brand. You get it? So we're more systematic, and we'll see faster results because of that. And so these acids will do this, this, and this, and this, and this, but an acid exfoliant will give you faster results and more even. So that is one thing. Masks, they're, especially now because we're wearing the masks, I encourage my clients to do once or twice a week exfoliation and the mask.
Okay.
Because what you want to do is to give that renew the skin, right? Now your skin is more receptive, because what is happening to when you are doing an exfoliation, you're stimulating oxygenation, you're stimulating blood flow. Now the skin cells are more receptive, they are alive, they are like ready to talk to you. And then now you go in and apply the mask. Is a great way, because now you have a clean canvas for the mask to work, through it. So best time to do these two specialty treatments is actually together, not blending together, but doing your exfoliation first, and then you do your mask.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are tons of products on the market.
Tell me more.
I mean, and unfortunately, like someone like me, I'm a beauty junkie. It's like, oh, I should get that. Let me get that. Oh, that's a new one. Let me get that too, and forget color cosmetics, just as bad with that. But for the person, or for the people who like to shop in the Targets of the world, are there any effective brands that would meet your expectations?
There are. I don't like to discredit those brands, because I think they are effective as a maintenance product, right? I do it all the time. Suggest clients to buy La Roche-Posay, a French line that you can find on Target. It's a well-respected line. It's available. It's affordable, and I'm like, look, get a cleanser from them, get a micellar water from La Roche-Posay, and I would like for you to get it from me, the exfoliant, and get it from me, the serum, because I know for sure my product, it's going to be more effective than whatever you buy mass market.
Right.
Because as you know, these brands are out there, they spend a lot of money in marketing and distribution, right? Skincare brands, like professional skincare brands, for example, the Gimarini is one of the brands that I carry, right? So Gimarini has been around for 30 odd years.
Okay.
And is a medical grade They spend a lot of time in research and education
Mm-hmm.
and formulation.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're buying is the seriousness of skin health. You don't see this brand on Amazon, well, Amazon now, but
Yes, that's a different animal.
a different animal,
You get
because
everything there. Mm-hmm.
those brands want to be on
Yeah.
Amazon, right?
Right.
So, but you, Sabrina, would not buy. You would not buy this brand that you already know that you bought from your esthetician before.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're like, well, wait a minute, Viviane said that I need a cleanser and the name was Gimarini, but actually I found it on Amazon. But the difference between making a choice to buy off Amazon, off my website, is that one, you don't know how to use it, and I will tell you how to use
Right.
it.
Right.
Two, there is an emotion attached to that cleanser. So you're gonna be like, you know what? I'd rather give my money to Viviane
Mm-hmm.
than to Amazon.
Right. Right.
But for the
Right.
brand, it's a great display, right? So,
Right.
so to your point, like those brands are effective, right? But when it comes to, for example, acne and hyperpigmentation,
Mm-hmm.
my suggestion is always to seek a professional like myself,
Mm-hmm.
or a doctor, dermatologist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I also did this sharing on my page. You know, the difference between you know, dermatologist and an esthetician.
Mm-hmm.
When like someone like me, I had the opportunity to work with a dermatologist. It was a great combination. It was a great like team effort, because she would diagnose,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the situation and then prescribe the medication, and I would walk them through it, how to take care for their skin, and also do chemical peels, microdermabrasion. So these treatments actually accelerate the results with the
Mm-hmm.
medication. They cannot be
Mm-hmm.
combined at times,
Mm-hmm.
but it was more like speeding the process.
Right.
Now, when you go to a dermatologist, they're going to prescribe, their mentality is to kill whatever is causing whatever it is. They are the fixer. They're
Mm-hmm.
not the supportive.
Right.
The supportive is, there are estheticians like myself where we are licensed to touch your face. We are
Mm-hmm.
licensed to be able to design a program for you.
Hmm.
We just approach differently. So when you go to a dermatologist, they're going to always prescribe antibiotics. They're always going to prescribe you retinol. They're
Mm-hmm.
always going to prescribe something that is going to soothe that inflammation. That's it. When you go to an esthetician, we are going to assess the skin, do a thorough consultation, then customize the treatment, then deliver that treatment
Right.
and product recommendation. There are
Right.
layers to that.
Okay.
Okay.
So the other piece of this is, so I share with you that the women that I'm primarily speaking to are those who they've lived a little bit, right? So they've got kids who are semi-independent, right? So they're almost on their way out, and they are now in a position where they have more time to devote to themselves, and skincare becomes, in many cases, an important part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And just overall self-care, right? Getting massages more, um, traveling more, working out, eating better, all of that. So the piece that was appealing to me as well about talking to you was that you specialize in, how did you phrase it? Skin aging management. Right?
Age management.
Right. And I said, okay, skin aging. So age management. Okay, I like the way that's phrased.
Yeah.
So what exactly does that mean? And so, I mean, I have an idea, but I want to hear from you. What does that mean? And what do you do for the woman? Like, what would you say? She's maturing? And what age range is that? Because I talk to women 40 plus. So at what point do you have to manage skin age? Is that around that same time? 40 plus?
That's a great point, Sabrina. Taking care of yourself is taking care the natural process that is happening, which is aging, right? So as much as I dislike labels, I had to make peace with that's how people understand. I don't like the term anti-aging because you can't be anti something that is natural.
Right. And it's
You
going
can't
to
be
happen,
against
right?
it.
It's
And
going
that's
to
the
happen.
whole,
And you should feel fortunate that it happens, right? Because if it
hello,
doesn't, what's
exactly.
the alternative?
And I tell my clients all the time, like, listen, aging is a natural process. You can't stop aging, but you can accelerate or delay. You just pick one. So when I talk about age management, is a woman like yourself. I'm 46. I'm
Are you
considered
really?
mature. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll be 47 in November.
Okay.
You get it? So our needs are different. So we're in a different bucket somehow, right? Our needs are different. Now we start seeing some deepen expression lines. Now we are noticing more of lack of elasticity. Now we are now our textures are also different. And then let's talk about hormones. Let's talk about menopause. Let's talk all of these things. So when I say, or even the training of age management is to customize an approach for a woman that is 40 plus. Like, hey, these are the natural changes that your skin is going through.
Right.
And here's how I can help you. So again, going back to my point, you can only do two things. You can accelerate or delay. How can one accelerate? Not washing your face, not applying sunscreen, not hydrating your skin, not removing your makeup properly, right? Then not only that, stress is a aging trigger.
Right.
Dehydration is a age trigger. Lack of sleep is another one. So your lifestyle choices is
it's too much. It's too much.
Don't let me start it, girl.
I'm sitting going, okay, I'm trying to do really well, drinking a lot of water, sleep, that's an issue. But taking off makeup, like I said, trying not to be lazy at night, and actually do it. And I've been good the last few nights, but it is a challenge. But I tell you, after this conversation, I'm going to make sure that I am on top of it, because like listening to you, especially when you say it's your choice, right? You accelerate or delay. I'm like, that's it in simple terms, right? Many of us know what to do. So if you don't do it, you are accelerating the aging process, because your expertise comes in very handy, but there's so much you can do. You need the individual to do their part as well. So they can come to you and get treated, but they have to, as you mentioned earlier, maintain what you've done. So I'm going to put that on my mirror. Accelerate or delay.
Pick one.
Right, pick one. I want to go in the delay lane, So as you're talking about making sure you stay hydrated, making sure you sleep well, is healthy eating a contributor to the delay process? So like the delay process, they can't see me.
Of course.
Using my hands to just like pull my skin back.
Absolutely. It makes a huge difference, right? So Sabrina, I'm very passionate about really educating or shifting the whole thought process when it comes to aging. So I love what I do, and I love to work with women because I am one, right? And so I want to, every client or everyone that I have the pleasure to encounter, I'm like, girl, you are in control. You have to do the work. I'm here to support you. And how I can support you is to empower you to know that the solution, it's not in a jar or in a bottle. The solution is you carving out time intentionally to take care of yourself. And another thing is stop fighting the whole aging thing. Embrace it and with grace. And how can, every time you take charge of doing something and you feel good about it, that's empowering. So take charge of your health, take charge of your self-care, and put some spin on it, like create a ritual around it, light a candle, play your favorite music, get a silk scarf or something. Just create a process where you enjoy it, taking care of yourself.
Right.
So my messaging, it's different than, if I don't know if you noticed that I don't promote products on my page as much. I have to in order for me to stay in business. But I want to cut through the noise. I want to speak to your heart, like, no, you are not mature, you're a woman with wisdom, and you're redefining who you are right now. That's who you are.
Right.
Because we're all getting older. A baby that was born yesterday is already old one day. So guess what? We're all getting older.
That's true. That
you
is
get
true.
it? But it's more of the mindset that I really like to reinforce, is the mindset, right? So the whole idea of delaying or accelerating is something that I always kept that in my trainings, like telling the girls, like, we have to be very careful when you speak to a woman over 40 plus, because she's already feeling doubtful of her beauty and worthiness. And then you say, oh, this is anti-aging. She already knows that. So let's rephrase it, how you approach that client, right? And helping, okay, this moisturizer is going to refine your texture, improve your elasticity, blah, blah, blah. And then when the client says, oh, this is anti-aging, well, it's anti-aging because what it's doing is improving texture, elasticity, and hydration.
Right.
So it's, it's an educative moment at that time. And guess what? The client is going to feel more welcome than just, oh, this is for mature skin. No, we are not doing that.
Okay.
You see, so it sounds different.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think it's just, the bottom line is the society, right? And I don't know if it's mainly here in the US, but it's kind of frowned upon, versus, as you mentioned, as we're getting a little older, we're maturing, but with that comes experience and wisdom that we have to share. So it's interesting that we know this, but yet sometimes the insecurities come about at this age and the confidence level dwindles. And I'm making it a point to speak to women around like 40 plus to find out where they are in life. And I'm curious about emotionally what they're feeling, but then even practically, what are the things that they're doing to preserve themselves or just to feel their best. And skincare always comes up, right? Because we want to think about, do we nip, do we tuck, do we just, or do we do what you said, you embrace aging with grace, right? That would be the best if the mindset could be there. So that's why I talk to women like you, so that we can continue to inspire others to embrace where they are in life, feel great about what they've accomplished so far, and know that there's so much more to look forward to. And if we can preserve all this, hold in the face and preserve this,
preserve or support, right?
Right, exactly. Preserve and support. Yes, because we want there to be improve the elasticity and be hydrated so you can see fewer lines. And so I try to look at myself all the time, like, speak positively, don't fall for the foolishness if you hear outside, all the noise, because as a marketer, like I used to work at Revlon, and just the things that I would hear and see, and it's just like, oh my goodness, it doesn't matter. You need to embrace where you are at every age. You can't reverse the clock, so.
But
anyway.
like you sell a message through fear. You sell a message through the pain points, right? As a marketer, you know that. So I'm the opposite. Like my business, my mission is to do the opposite. And that's why it, I don't want to say it's going to take time for me to get where I want to be, because I am doing, I'm swimming against the current, right? I'm not using the same messaging as other estheticians are highlighting, or even beauty influencers. But I'm
Which
very
is good.
consistent with my message. And the women that I'm talking to is the women that need to hear what I have to say. Right? They need that confirmation or even permission to say, you know what? I never thought that way. I'm going to do that. I'm going to. And next time I buy a product, I'm going to use it until the end. I'm not going to buy another product because it sounds sexy. You get it? Because, you know, what Viviane said, it makes sense to me. You get it? So it's more of that. And that's what is missing. Because, and then again, to your point, that is not just an American way, that is everywhere. Like, the messaging is consistent throughout the world. It's just culturally there are other things that people focus on, but self-esteem, every woman has some kind of insecurity. I have my insecurities, right? And I have times that I'm like, what am I doing right now as an entrepreneur? Like, I hope I'm doing right, and I hope this is gonna, I don't know what I'm doing. You get it? But there are, when I share what I'm doing with a woman like you, or friends that I have, you know, friendships that I have made since I've been here, they remind me of my, you know, my journey. Like, Viv, you've done this, you've done that. And I was like, thank you for this message. I needed to hear next. So then I'm right back on the horse to keep moving forward, you know? So,
and support, like you just described, is very important, because sometimes we forget what we've accomplished. And that's why, like, I read your accomplishments earlier. So it's like, let's let people know, one, but two, it's just a reminder, because you know what you've accomplished, but to hear someone repeat it just does something.
It feels,
it's inspiring to hear about your own accomplishments.
So
how long have you been in business?
Officially at the end of September, I got an LLC.
So September 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
Okay. So, like, I can clearly hear and see the passion that you have for this industry, right? So I'm saying see to let everyone know this is being recorded. So if you'd like to see this interview take place, go to YouTube, same channel, Living Her Next Phase. But I can definitely see your passion for what you do. And it gets me excited, right? I love to see when a woman has found her groove. So she's spent time establishing a career, kind of cultivating it, and then narrowing it down to know exactly what she wants to focus on. And especially by this point in your life, to say, this is what I'm going to do. I know exactly how I'm going to approach it. And then the point becomes, like, how do you grow it? So what do you envision your business growing into? Like, where do you see your business going? So I know you're still new, so I'm sure there's still things you have to figure out being a new entrepreneur, but what vision do you have for your business? Is that too broad?
No. I want to I want to share this message to the world, right? So I don't see myself doing facials for the rest of my life.
Okay.
I see myself mentoring. I love mentoring. I see myself creating, you know, my clients already said, listen, because I'm booked, right? I'm booked until July.
That's crazy. This is March and you're booked through July.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So, because I had to shut down my book because people are already booking for like December, and I really
Wow.
had to take control of my book. So I shut
Right.
down from July to December, right?
Wow.
So my clients are like, listen, you have to start training other people because you can't just not be available. So, but the business is bigger than me. I feel like I have so much to share. I want to get to a point that I want to get to like uh, like a goop with a Brazilian black flavor to it. Like be the voice of wellness and beauty with elegance. You know, to be very proud of, you know what? These are the things that I'm going through. Like I love the whole goop messaging. And I think it's brilliant. But let me add some flavor to it because we all are part of that too. And do it with grace. So expansion it is my vision. So whatever I'm learning right now, it's just building the foundation. And I signed up to 2 masterminds Saturday, right? Because I want to be able to learn how to communicate because because I'm very passionate, I can be everywhere. So refining my message, knowing who I'm talking to, all of those things is a skill set that I know that I have to work on. So, okay, here's my time and my money. Numbers, I hire an accountant, and then I hire another coach, like a business coach. Like these are the things that I need because I'm here now, I need to hack time. And how I can hack time, I need to hire people that knows better than me.
Welcome to entrepreneurship. Exactly. But, at least early on that you need to outsource so that you can grow, right? Because if you're in that place where you're doing everything on your own, you're limiting yourself, right?
But
because
Sabrina,
it's impossible.
let me
And
say
nobody
this.
knows everything,
The official entrepreneur label technically was September, but I've been on the hustle for years, right? As an immigrant, I had to freaking create a whole life and being able to say yes to things that I wasn't sure if I was capable of.
Right.
I had to just like live this life that it was a lie somehow because I was an immigrant. I am an immigrant, right? So I had to navigate through this culture in a way that I had to be listening constantly, see how other people were moving, and I copy and paste that and allowed me to go to places. Nothing that I have experienced to this point was just given to me.
Right. Yeah.
I've been in spaces that, oh, you just got this opportunity because you're Brazilian, you're exotic, or she doesn't deserve, like even my award that in 2019, the place that I was working at it. Estheticians that were working there for 15 years, 10 years, 7 years. When I won the award, oh my gosh, a few of them didn't speak to me.
Wow.
And comments like, I don't know how she got this. She doesn't deserve. She just got here. It was hatred. So it was the air was so thick that thank God I already had scheduled a vacation going home, and I was able to breathe.
Right.
Because I was like, okay, what just happened? Because I won in all of the magazine came out in August, and that's when I found out because it was a secret shop. So August, so beginning of August, so my trip was scheduled the 10th of August, and I went home and I was, oh my gosh, I got this award, and it was a dream of mine. And so all that noise that I didn't deserve went away because I was home. I was with my family.
Right.
I was
People who care.
in my nature. When I came back, I was like, guess what? You ladies can cut your pulses because I'm here to stay.
Right. But maybe the fear was that you would be doing exactly what you're doing, right? The fear was that you would surpass them. And that's what's good. I'm glad you talked about masterminding, because that's what's important about mastermind. You get an opportunity to be surrounded by people who are like-minded. And they are inspiring. And when they're successful, you are inspired to be successful. So you're like supporting each other, you're pushing each other. And a lot of times that's what it takes to get out of one environment and into a better one. So it seems like everything that has happened for you and to you has been to your benefit, right? Because, I mean, look at today. You're running your own business. You're doing clearly what you love. You are impacting so many women. I mean, you freaking booked. This is a pandemic and you are booked through July. This is crazy. I love it, though. I love it.
And I have a waiting list.
And you have a wait list. Oh, my God.
Okay. By now, they got to 70 names on my waiting list, right? So
in demand. I love it.
And Sabrina, I really believe in, and I tell my friends all the time, like, or even clients when I like to check in with them as in the beginning of the treatment. How's everything? How's life? How was your trip? How's the kids or whatever? And, some of them just come in with, some stories. And I'm like, listen, these are experiences. It's not defining this is the moment right now for the rest of your life, whatever's happening.
Right.
Because all of these experiences is leading you to something bigger, right? You are being developed. Right. So for me, listen, and depending on how I feel comfortable with the client, I'll tell them like, listen, I went through this, I went through that. And guess what? I shook it off. I was depressed for a hot minute, but I had to go because I have a child. I have a family that I support financially back home. Okay. I don't have the luxury or the privilege to get caught up on what others said about me or the experiences that just happened. For me, I always take as, okay, what is the lesson here? Right. I don't dwell too long. And was I like this all my life? No, this is like a new way of thinking the past, I'll say 10 years. And it's getting better and better with age. Right. And that's the wisdom comes from, right? Right, exactly. So for me, these, I looking back, it's kind of like magical how people, things, and events happened to lead me to this moment. Yeah. So from here, living my dreaming, having my business, offering an experience to my clients was a dream of mine 20 years ago. Okay. You get it? Like, even working at Ritz-Carlton, I had I was hustling. I had a studio that I was renting to do massages. Wow. You get it? So officially, LLC was in September, but I always sold stuff to make extra money. I got to US as a nanny, but I was cleaning houses. I was doing extra hours to make extra cash. So I was sending money home or supporting the things that I wanted to buy for myself. So that is entrepreneurship too, It is true, but it's also a different mindset, right? Because like you say, because you are an immigrant, you had this hustle mentality. And for you to come here, if you don't really have other people, you don't have a choice but to make it. So I think your approach to business and entrepreneurship is different. Your approach to just back then making money and having a vision is just very different. And, I could just remember the stories and the things that I experienced watching my parents. It's just, I don't even know how to explain it to some people other than to say the hustle is just so different, because when you don't have that support, that financial support, and you don't want to go back, you want to make it here, you really don't have a choice. So you do anything that you have to do to make it and to stay. But I'm glad that you jumped into entrepreneurship, because you get to kind of write your own ticket, right? And then I just think it's wonderful, like you shared that you have a 14-year-old son.
you get to share with him and show him, because he's seeing it, right? He's probably hearing so many of your experiences. He's witnessing things. He's absorbing things differently as a first generation born here. So his approach is going to be very different because he's going to mimic your success. So
my son
he's nearby.
Yeah, he it was a time in my life that I was like, I'm sorry. I looked at him and I said, I don't have any shame sharing this because I think it's necessary. You know, I was getting evicted and he would sit there like watching the guys just shutting the door, right? And I was crying and I was embarrassed and I was like, you know, like, I'm sorry that I'm putting you through this. And I remember I was crying and he's sang that song from by Bob Marley. Don't worry.
Be happy.
And that was like, okay, next, you know,
Right.
showtime. So when I show up. That's where my passion comes from, because I had to.
You done made me cry. Oh God,
Girl.
stop.
I had to, you know, like I grew up watching my mom just kind of redefining, you know, herself, you know, with my father and the whole, that's another podcast, girl. But, you know, she had to redefine. Now she had to be the breadwinner and dealing with my father's, you know, Latino man is different. Like, what? You make more money? Oh, no, and get aggressive and all that stuff. And my mother will wash her tears away, and every day she will be there and bake pastries to make money to feed five of us, you know. So yes, I watch my mom, and you know, with all her gifts and all her struggles, I embraced it, you know, consciously and unconsciously. I embraced the whole codependency too in relationships. With my father, they're still together, but so much friction in there. So I was like, no, I'm not gonna be like my mom. And guess what? I was just like my mom in a few situations. You get it? But also I embraced that go-getter mentality from my mother too.
Right.
So when that was going on, my mom, like, really thinking about like when I was in his age, what my mother had to do, and just clicked. And I was like, okay, reset. And then things to start, you know. So when I received the award, it was around that time I was living with a friend of mine, friend of mine, and I was staying there until I could find a place to move into, which is this one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You get it? So, but nobody knew it. Know why? Because I'm very good in putting, like, sucking it up.
Right.
Because as you said, we don't have an option. This is it.
Right. You have to figure it
out.
out. Yeah.
And this boy right here gave me the strength to, you know, like, that little thing was God sent message. It just did something to me that I was like, okay, we have to redirect here. And so God got me through it. It's just that prayer, continuous, you know, connection with the divine. And it's just like night and day. 1 month, next month, I'm on a whole different space.
Well, that shook you up, you know?
Yep.
Because you got to see the other side that you know you don't want to go to or be stuck in, right? Yeah. And it does make a difference having a child. Like my parents, even though they're both from Panama, they met here. And let me tell you, I remember the days of my mother deciding she's going to go to college, and she did just that. Like, she was very funny. I don't want to live amongst a lot of Panamanians, so I'm moving. I'm going to live in this other area. I'm not going to live amongst us. You know what I mean? Nope. I want to be different. I'm going to work in corporate America. Like, she did everything differently. And when she said she was going to college, my father fought her every step of the way. So I remember the days of him threatening to burn her books. You know, it was always tumultuous in the household. And I'm like, I couldn't understand that, because she wants to go to school and she did it anyway, you know? Yeah. So sometimes, I can't even begin saying this because I guess I don't give her the credit all the time. But, you know, I sit back sometimes and go, you know, she has shared her stories from when she was in Panama to when she came here. And if she endured all of that and was still able to overcome a lot of those things, I don't really have an excuse for not being successful, right? I don't have an excuse for not having, or at least going for what I want. Mm-hmm. So I understand, you know, I mean, not firsthand because, you know, it was my mother's experience versus mine, but I understand. Let me just say, all that you've seen, your son, he sees it, he knows it, he won't forget it. Mm-hmm. But one bit of advice, I want you to look up, if you don't know her, look up Lisa Nichols. Have you ever heard of her? You know her. Okay, so you know her story, right? Okay, so I don't need to say anything else. Anybody else listening? If you don't know, look her up. I'm sure you guys know her, but if you don't, look her up, and she shares her moment. Yes, she's a force. Her moment where she said with her son, "This is not going to happen again," and I'll just leave that alone. They can look it up.
Yeah.
But so as we close out, Viviane, because this has been such a wonderful interview where we've gone in different directions.
Yes, I feel like I'm reading a book.
I know, right? I know. I'm like, wow, this went in so many different directions than I expected, but it's wonderful because it addresses not just the superficial, right? Because things are usually deeper than what we all see or what we allow others to see. But can you share just a bit of wisdom with our listeners who may be in a position where they're fearful to try that next thing, right? So they're fearful of maybe leaving a job to start a business. And when you get to this point in your life where you're 40, especially 45 plus, there's something different where you're like, it's now or never, right? So if you want to finally turn your eating habits around and eat better so that you can look better and feel your best, like, but something's holding them back. What advice could you give to people, to specifically to other women, to say, now's the time. If it's in your mind and it's in your heart, let go of those fears or let go of whatever struggles you may have. You know what? This is a loaded question. I'm going to take this back because I've asked, that's like 3 questions rolled into one. Okay. I'm going to roll it back and I'm going to keep it on the business front then. Okay. So for the woman who is fearful about abandoning a career that she may think is secure for entrepreneurship, what would you advise her of? And then I'll jump. The other 2 questions I'll ask you during the next interview.
So I have great friends that they are in corporate America, and I know how few of them they don't belong in corporate America, and few of them do. Mm-hmm. This entrepreneurship is not for everyone.
Right.
You can want from the sideline, but you don't have the balls to really take the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. And I sound like I have many businesses, and I felt, no, I just watched, I read, I listened. Mm-hmm. I grew up with, my mother was an entrepreneur, so some people just have the guts to just say, I'm just going to take the leap. Mm-hmm. And some women have to be in places and spaces where her strengths and her gifts are cultivated. So my advice is to be a part of a group, like-minded people, take classes, work on your fears, understand what the fear is, where it's coming from. Mm-hmm. If it is not being good enough, then we need a therapist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hire a business coach.
Right.
Because they will be able to assess your strengths and unique. I don't like to say uniqueness, weaknesses, but challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
Redefine, because I think like the concept of entrepreneurship, it's very romantic
Yeah.
and sexy. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody wants to be an entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
but not everybody can be or designed to be.
Right.
So what I would, my suggestion is to go through, because this is another thing too that I heard recently from some podcast or some clubhouse. Someone were saying like entrepreneurship is all about self-development.
Hmm.
Is getting to know who you are and
Mm-hmm.
what your purpose is, which the word purpose is very broad. Like
Right.
everybody wants to help everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But with your skills and gifts, you have your message might be different than my message is very similar
Mm-hmm.
to you, Sabrina.
Mm-hmm.
Our skill sets are different, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we understand that. So when you do understand the difference, then it's easier for you to navigate. Maybe I'll be behind the brand and
Mm-hmm.
do the business part. For me, I'm very comfortable in camera speaking. Let me do this for now. Writing blogs, my coach was like, Viviane, we need to get you, we need to blog. We need to get some blogging because that's how we're gonna attract traffic. Da, da, da. Yeah. And there's not something, I know what it is. They're resistant for me to sit down and write, because my thoughts, my ideas, they come through, my gift is verbal. Like it's a stream of ideas, energy. But when I sit down to write, it cuts off.
Hmm.
So I know that I need to work in creative brainstorming ideas and writing, right?
Okay.
So my next investment will be in creative writing, right?
Hmm.
Develop my way to put my thoughts and how I feel and what I think, and writing. How does it look like?
Right.
So all of that to say, find out why do you want to leave your corporate job, because I understand why people don't leave.
Mm-hmm.
But why do you want to leave? Because of you want to have more freedom. You have kids, you don't have the time. When you work for a corporate job, you have a set schedule, or even high pressure
Mm-hmm.
job.
Mm-hmm.
Now your family is something that you want to focus on, but do you have the talent to actually have a business that will sustain? Because you leave that company and now you become resentful that you're
Hmm.
not making that money,
Right.
and you're miserable, and
Yeah.
you're still not knowing why
Mm-hmm.
you left the company, because you're just overstressed. But
Right.
now what? You're gonna find
Right.
another job, and you're gonna keep finding another job. So
Mm-hmm.
defining and get very clear to what you really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Get in touch with women. They are doing things that you see yourself like,
Mm-hmm.
you've there is attracted to you, and
Mm-hmm.
they develop your skills. I
Right.
think that's what I would suggest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay.
So, how can people contact you so they can engage with you? I mean, now it's like if they want to work with you, you've got a 7-month waiting period.
I do offer virtual consultations.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
So
So in
then
my website, yeah,
okay, so on your
um,
website,
Viviane Aires,
mhm,
skinwellness.com.
okay, and I'm going to
So,
put this in the show notes for people.
okay.
But
And of course, you can find me on Instagram,
mhm,
Viviane Aires Skin.
mhm,
You also can find me on Facebook, Viviane
mhm,
Aires Skin.
mhm.
Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm everywhere.
She's
Clubhouse,
everywhere. Yeah,
everywhere.
right now Clubhouse, right? You got to
I
add that
love
in.
I love me some
Are we
Clubhouse. I
connected on
start my
Clubhouse? I'm
day.
not even sure. I haven't been on in like, no, I've been on once in 2 weeks. So,
Oh, I need to find it, because I have my favorite clubs to be in, like first thing in the morning.
oh, really?
Good stuff.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
then I have to give it more time. My son keeps telling me to give it more time because some of the conversations I'm like, I don't have time for this. So I've got to find my groove.
No, I'm very specific with my time and where I want to
Yeah,
do my. See, I don't spend time in like skincare clubs. I go
right,
into the business, I go into
right.
mindset, and that's it.
Like I found a really good one the other day about media. And I'm like, yeah, this is more it and less about
Yeah.
podcasting. So yeah,
Yeah. It's just
yeah, because
finding your groove, or just finding
right,
the clubs that, feed your soul and then stick with them,
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Viviane. Well, like I started to say before, this has been a great
Yeah.
conversation.
It was
I mean, I've gotten education
therapeutic.
through all of this, huh?
Therapeutic.
Yes, it has been, right? Educational, it's been therapeutic, enlightening in many respects.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I am very appreciative that you let yourself be vulnerable and that you
Yeah.
shared your story. And I'm excited to follow you and to keep in touch with you and to
Yeah.
witness your journey and how you grow from here.
Yeah.
And I hope that you've had the opportunity to impact at least one person's life, whether it's through, appreciating what they have now and taking care of it, or if it's through, the trials that you have endured and overcome, excuse me.
Mhm.
So I am, again, thankful so much that you've joined me today. And that's that. Until next time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
This is I feel like I was having a conversation with my girlfriend. You make it easy.
Excellent.
And I definitely, I trust that this is not the last time either.
Oh
I
no,
really
definitely
want
not.
to continue, this friendship and a
Yes.
relationship, on different levels. And I do hope that this message can touch, more than one woman.
Yes.
Let me be
Yes.
greedy.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Hey. Yes.
Because we need this type of conversation, because I know a lot of women can relate to my story and to your story as well. And they are sitting on a gift that they have within themselves, that
Right.
there is a saying, don't let the music die within you, or something like that. And so that's why when you invited me for this podcast, and you send me an email like who you serve, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly who I serve.
Right.
And I was like, I moved my schedule around. I was like, yes, I'll be there.
Yes.
And I'm so glad that I made the time to be here, and I'm looking forward to many other podcasts or whatever you put together. I want to be a part of it.
Excellent.
Yes.
Yay. Yay, yay, yay. All right, Viviane, thank you.
Have a great day, my dear.
Thanks, you do too.